Good morning. Good morning. Good morning, everybody. Happy Friday. Hope everybody's been having a great week. I'm going to give it a few minutes, let some notifications click in. Sarah D. Irish, hello. If you're still here, I see you. How you doing? Hope everybody's having a great Friday so far. It's kind of nice where I am. I've got a lot going on, but I wanted to do this quick live before the weekend hits. Um, and, just talk about a few things. I'm not going to be showing anything today. It's a Brainworms Friday. That's what we're doing today. We're just doing another Brainworms Friday here. Um, and it's all of my brainworms for Ethan and Xana, basically. So good morning. Welcome in. Let everybody know we're live. Tell your friends, brooms up. Um, you know, there's a lot of interesting things surrounding Ethan and Xana here, leading up to this crime. Um, but mainly, a lot of the stuff, surrounding like Ethan and Xana, um, even just for that day, right? Even just for that day. Leah Story, hello. How you doing? Welcome on in. Bree Sully, what up, gangsta? I haven't seen you in so long. Happy Friday, Bree. Hope you're having a great day. Karma Police, hello. I'll give it a few minutes. We'll let some notifications click in. Happy Friday, everybody. Trying to I'm trying to get myself moved here in between like working and homeschooling and healing up and everything. And I got to tell you, I think I overdid it. I'm not going to lie. Momo, hello. I think I overdid it a little. But that's okay. I'm going to try and take it a little bit easy today, but I don't know. Right. I don't know. Yeah. Friday the 13th. Happy Friday the 13th. Gen 7. What up, gangsta? How you doing, Jen? That's right. It's Friday the 13th. Happy Friday the 13th. Maybe today will be, I guarantee you, if we're going to get docs, friends, if we are going to get docs out of any of these, in my opinion, fucking cultists, it's going to be today. They love their damn Friday the 13th and Halloween. They love to do shit on very specific days. So if we're going to get docs, friends, maybe it'll be today. Halls, hello. Moonlit Baby, hello. So yeah, I mean, I figure if Hitler's going to give us anything, if they're going to release anything, maybe it'll be today. Just because it's Friday the 13th. Gina P, hello. Momo, yeah, I know. Rest, yeah. Uh-huh. I'll sleep when I die, bro. I'll sleep when I die. Beautiful Meg P, hello. TJ Love, hello. Good to see everyone. Yes, it is Friday the 13th, friends. If you're superstitious, okay, go ahead and sage your house and do whatever you need to do. I think March 13th, I don't know. I feel like Friday the 13th is, you know, maybe it's not such a superstitious thing like everybody thinks, right? Who knows, right? I guess we don't know. But I hope everybody's got their coffee, got their tea, got something to drink. If you're home and you're snuggly, get a blankie. Mercy Cat, wherever you are, darling, I did send you a little voice text this morning. I miss you dearly. I hope you're having a great Friday. Give Elroy an extra treat for me if you catch this on the replay. Actually, give Elroy 2 extra treats from me today. TJ, you were doing a deep dive on the frats, the hazing, huh? Well, Kane B sent me something, actually. It was Syracuse University. If you go look on Kane B's community tab, I think he posted it on the Kane B one and not the MK Ultra one. I'm not exactly sure which one he posted it on, but there was I think it was in 2024, Syracuse University had to shut down a pi beta psi or something like that. After a video surfaced of some crazy ass hazing or whatever was going on there, so they did shut that one down. Seems to be Ro. Hello, Ro. I noticed too, I don't know if anybody else saw it, but WSU, so Washington State University, recently shut down Sigma Chi. Did anybody see that? I think they got shut down until 2029 for hazing and alcohol, if I remember correctly. Thank you, Meg P. Yes, so Meg P just put it in the chat. I think that's for Kane B's thingy. But yeah, if I remember correctly, WSU, I feel like I just read an article. Maybe I posted it to my community tab. I don't remember. But yeah, there was apparently Sigma Chi chapter at WSU got shut down. I think it said till 2029. So that's wild. Beach Babe, hello. Good to see you. Momo, you heard Jeff H was doxxed? Oh, wow. Well, you know. I mean, you could dox me all you want, you know, fucking pull up, bitch. I don't even care. Double Glocks, double locks, baby. Dox me. I'm nobody. I don't know shit. You know what I mean? Go ahead, dox me. I'm literally no one and I know nothing. I'm just some witch who rides around on a broom. That's all I do. Yeah, Gen 7, Sigma Chi. Yep. They got shut down. I think it was till 2029. B Slims. Hello, welcome on in. So yeah. All right. So what we're going to get into today is just some of the brainworms that I have surrounding Ethan and Xana. And I'm going to try and keep my thoughts together. But more and more that I've gone back and, you know, everybody's been going back. And Liz, hello, welcome on in. Good to see you. More and more that I've gone back and P Fox, what up, gangsta? Where you been? Oh my goodness gracious, so good to see you. Foxy, Foxy. So I guess where my initial brainworm comes from, right? Smiling sleuth, hello, is when we kind of go back, and now that we've gone back and re-listened to, you know, Dylan, right? Her interviews with Gooch. We've listened to everybody's interviews. We've had time to let it marinate. Go back and listen to it again. The stuff surrounding Ethan and Xana, like leading up to, you know, the alleged time of the murders, right? Because I'm still a little, so when we go back to, let's just even go back to the 2 a.m., right? The 2 a.m. According to Dylan and Bethany both, Ethan and Xana are not in this house at 2 a.m. when Kaylee and Maddie arrive, right? I think for the most part, that's kind of the agreement, right? I think everybody can concede on that so far, based on everything that we have. Medusa, hello. Sorry guys, I'm trying to keep an eye on my chat, but when I look at my chat, I also lose my thoughts. So welcome in, everybody. Thank you for being here. Happy Friday. You know, get your coffee. And we're just going to have a little chit chat. Okay. These are just brainworms. As always, friends, never listen to me, never run with anything I say. I'm just some witch cackling bitch on the internet who rides around on a broom, and I give my thoughts, my opinions, and brainworms. And that's all that we do here. Okay, that's all that we do here. Meg P. Oh my goodness, Meg P just gifted 10 memberships. So if you got a membership, please make sure to say thank you, okay? To the beautiful Meg P. I have the amazing people around me, and I'm truly blessed. And I just want you guys to know how much I appreciate you. And I thank my lucky stars every single day for some of the amazing people that I have met off of this platform, okay? Um, and it's not just about like monetary support. I mean, like even outside of YouTube, it's not about monetary support. I'm so truly, unbelievably grateful. And I wake up and I thank the universe and the creator every day for the amazing support that I have in my life from some of you amazing, fine folks off this platform. There she is, beautiful Mercy Cat. How you doing, honey? You're one of my favorites. You're numero uno. You're literally numero uno. I thank the Lord every day for my Mercy Cat. I was just saying, Mercy Cat, give Elroy 2 extra treats from me today. Just because it's Friday the 13th, darling. Happy Friday the 13th, my beautiful darling. I hope you have a wonderful day. And thank you, Meg. Thank you, Meg. So welcome in, new members. Welcome. If you turned green, make sure you say thank you. Make sure you say thank you to the beautiful Meg P. All right, so I think I got the pleasantries out of the way, right? Again, friends, this is just opinions. This is just brainworms, okay? I don't want to wake up tomorrow to some whole video that's been made about me and how I'm wrong about this and wrong about that. I think we can all concede that for the most part, for what we have now based on supplemental reports, based on what Dylan and Bethany has said, okay, by 2 a.m., when Maddie and Kaylee arrive home, Ethan and Xana are not there. I think everybody can concede that that is probably most likely true based on what these two survivors have said, right? Now, we don't know for sure. Obviously, the police do. The police have the actual phone data for Ethan and Xana, right? They have their timing advance records. They have all of that stuff. So the police know when precisely they arrived at that property, right? All we can go by right now is what we know that the two survivors have said, and so far what we've been able to glean from, docs and what the state has claimed and blah, 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 right? So the thing with the Ethan and Xana that sticks out in my mind is that at 2 a.m., they're not in this house, right? So let's just go like time by time here, starting at 2 a.m. When Kaylee and Maddie arrive home, according to Dylan and Bethany, it's just Dylan and Bethany in the house, right? It's just Dylan and Bethany in the house. Then Kaylee and Maddie get home. Then we know Dylan has a video on her phone for 2:10 a.m. where they are up in Kaylee's room. She's taking a video. You can hear them. It's Dylan, it's Bethany, it's Kaylee, it's Maddie, right? They are all allegedly up in Kaylee's room. Ethan and Xana are still not there. They're making a video about, getting in touch with the Uber driver again to see about getting food, right? And as far as Dylan knows, at like 2:13, when the driver answers back and says, that yes, he's still driving, they all just kind of changed their mind and decided they're not gonna go. Twiz, darling, welcome on in. Do I know what time it is, for fuck's sake? Yes, I do. It is 9:15 a.m. East Coast, which is what? Depending where you are on the West Coast, I think you're 6 a.m. Twiz. So wake up, bitch. I don't know what to tell you. Brooms up. Okay, we ride or die at dawn, motherfucker. You know this. Know what I mean, Twiz? We ride or die at dawn. So, we know that about approximately 2:15 a.m., right? Dylan claims that they've decided they're not going to go. They don't want to go get food. Cool. According to her time frame, which is sketchy at best, right? Because she's Not even sure if anything that she remembers is even real. So we know at 2 a.m. Meanie, hello, good morning. Yes, pretty much at 2 a.m. Um, so at 2:15. Now here's just on a side note here. When Dylan is claiming that she texts the Uber driver to see if he's driving, he answered back and said, "Yes, I am," but then they all decided they weren't going to go. I don't know how she knows that he answered back or what he said when she didn't read the text from him until like 4 something in the morning, right? So that's just my little sidebar there for that. If you didn't read the text, now I know for me on my phone, I have an Android. I know that I think these people all have like iPhones or whatever, but either way, I have an Android, and like when I get a text message, I can actually swipe down from the top and I can still see the message. I don't necessarily have to click on it to respond to it. Do you get what I'm saying? So I'll give her the benefit of the doubt here that maybe she saw it come in. He said, "Yes, I am." But then they changed their mind and they all, decided they wanted to go to bed instead. Right. Because Maddie definitely seemed out of everybody to be the most intoxicated. Amethyst, hello. No, you are not invisible, honey. Sorry, I'm on my phone, so I can only see a couple comments at a time, friends. Plus, I'm not usually looking at my chat when I'm thinking and trying to get all my thoughts out. But welcome in, everybody. If I missed you, I'm so sorry. Beach Babe, Amethyst, hello. Anybody else I missed, I'm sorry. So at approximately 2:15, Dylan is going down to her room, right? She's allegedly going to bed, and they've all decided they're not going anywhere, and they're just going to go to bed. Cool. She says she doesn't know when she left Kaylee's room where like everybody else went. She's saying she went to her room. So she guesstimates, 2:15-ish, like after Gower answered, is when they decided to, disperse, right? So, you give her 2:15-ish a.m., she's going into her room, right? But she's not sure, like, where everybody else went. But when you switch over to Bethany, but at this time at 2:15 a.m., as far as she knows, the only people in the home are her, Bethany, Maddie, Kaylee, right? So we only have the 4 girls in the home, 2 survivors, Kaylee, Maddie. This is at, approximately 2:15 a.m. Ethan and Xana are still not there. According to Bethany, it's about the 2:30-ish time where her and Maddie decide they're going to take Murphy out, right? I'm not exactly sure why that is. I don't know when Maddie is the one who seems to be the most intoxicated. It's odd to me that Maddie's the one taking Murphy out, not Kaylee. But according to Bethany, at approximately 2:30, her and Maddie go to take Murphy outside. Bethany decides, and Ethan and Xana are still not there. So at 2:30, even when she goes to take the dog out with Maddie, Ethan and Xana are still not home. Right? They're not there. So they go outside. According to Bethany, she's only out there, like 10 seconds, not a long time. She decides it's too cold or whatever. She leaves. She goes back inside. It's Maddie outside with Murphy. So Dylan is now dispersed to her room. Bethany's decided I'm going to my room, and Kaylee's upstairs on her own, and Maddie is outside with the dog, allegedly. According to Bethany, it's not that much longer after, about 10 minutes later, when Maddie comes knocking on her door looking for Murphy. So we still have about 2:40-ish, 2:45 a.m. where Ethan and Xana are still not there. Maddie's allegedly looking for Murphy. Kaylee, unsure. So we're talking like literally 2:40 to 2:45-ish. Maddie's allegedly still looking for the dog. In this time frame, we have calls that start going out from Kaylee, blowing up Jack's phone, right? If I remember correctly, it's like around the 2:30-ish time, 2:30 something, when the calls start going out to Jack, right? So Maddie's lost Murphy. It looks like Kaylee's starting to blow up Jack's phone. Ethan and Zana are still not home. Maddie is knocking on Bethany's door. And this is, 2:30-ish, 2:45. So keep that time frame in mind. Because by 2:53, 2:54, Maddie and Kaylee's phones are never used again. Willie, what up? Good morning. What's up, homie? How you doing? So let's keep in mind, we have a 2:15-ish time frame where they've decided to disperse from Kaylee's room. By 2:30-ish, 2:35, 2:40, Jack's phone starts being blown up. Maddie's allegedly looking for Murphy. The dog is missing. And then by 2:53, 2:54, Kaylee and Maddie's phones are never, ever used again. And Ethan and Zana, according to Bethany and Dylan, are still not home. So at the time that these two girls, Kaylee and Maddie, allegedly go from within literally minutes, 10 minutes, they go from what appears to be frantically looking for Murphy to just passing out next to each other at the exact same moment, and their phones are never used again. And Ethan and Zana are still not there. Right? Isn't that interesting? So when you think about it, right? Welcome in, everybody. Thank you for being here. I'm so sorry if I'm missing you in chat. Kim Young, hello. I am on my phone, friends, so I can only see a couple comments at a time here. And I try not to look at my chat too much when I'm talking because I'll lose my train of thought. Love Tina, hello. Welcome in, everybody. Who gifted memberships? Somebody else gifted more memberships? Oh, man, thanks, guys. Kim Young, thank you so much. Kim Young gifted 5 memberships. And Meg P has gifted 15 memberships. There's 20 of you that turned green today. Please, please make sure you say thank you. And thank you so, so much. What's wrong, Willie? What's wrong? Something wrong with Willie? I'm trying to see my chat here, friends. Sorry. What's going on, homie? You okay? Oh, I thought I just saw your comment there, but then it went away. I don't know what happened. So the thing that is tripping me out here, right, is that we have by 2:53, 2:54, 2 of these victims' phones are never used again. And we are expected to believe that in a very short amount of time, which would be like I would say 20-minute time frame, they went from looking for the dog to just never, ever using their phones again. Right. So that's super interesting. It's very interesting to me that you have from, 2:35-ish, 2:40-ish time frame to 2:53, 2:54, 13, 14-minute time frame here where all of a sudden 2 of these victims never used their phone again. And this is before the 2 other victims have even arrived to this house, according to the 2 survivors. Right? Then after that, so now we jump from this 2:54 time frame. So now we know by 2:53, 2:54, 2 of these victims are never ever using their phones again. And the only people in the house with them are Dylan and Bethany. Right? Dylan and Bethany, as far as we know, are the only people in the house with 2 of these victims. Then around 2:54, 2:55-ish, bam. We still don't have Ethan and Xana accounted for. According to Dylan and Bethany, they went to bed, right? According to Dylan and Bethany, they went to bed. They're in their rooms. So we don't know when Ethan and Xana actually arrived to the house. We know that by 3 a.m. they are not there. It would appear that by 3 a.m., according to Dylan and Bethany, Ethan and Xana are still not in this house. They're not in the house while the dog is being looked for, and they don't appear to be in the house when Dylan and Bethany go to bed. Right? So we know by 3 a.m., two of these victims are not in this house, as two of these victims are never utilizing their phones again. So now we go from the 3, let's start from 3 a.m. So 3 a.m. The only thing we know for 3 a.m., right, is that from the 3 to 3:51 a.m., it looks like Dylan and Bethany are asleep, I guess. I don't know what they're doing. We don't have all their phone data, but it looks like from approximately 3 a.m. to 3:51 a.m., Dylan at least is asleep or in her room or whatever the case may be. Now, we do know that according to Josiah Roloff, the things that he was able to recover from her phone for the time periods where user interaction would be required, my guess is he's referring to times when she claims she's asleep, right? So if Josiah Roloff is recovering Snapchat voice texts and voice calls and video calls and all of this that are going out between that 3 and 3:51 a.m., right? That would mean she's not asleep. But we do know by 3:51 a.m., she's awake and she's entering a new contact in her phone, right? And according to her, even when she got up at that 4 a.m., when she's awoken to what she thinks is like Kaylee playing with the dog and all of this stuff, right? As far as she knows, she doesn't even know if Ethan and Xana are there yet. She has no idea because when she went to her room and allegedly went to bed, Ethan and Xana are still not in this house. So we can, probably logically deduce here that around between the 3 and 3:51 a.m., okay, is maybe the time that Ethan and Xana are getting home or coming into the house or something is happening here, okay, where that's when they're arriving. I don't know. What I do find interesting is that we have what was initially said to be Xana on her TikTok at, the 4 a.m. time frame is actually the 3 a.m. time frame, correct? If I remember correctly, they said she was on her TikTok at like 4 something, but in actuality, when the docs came out, it was like 3:16 or something like that. Right? So if at 3 o'clock in the morning, as far as we know, they're still not there, meaning Ethan and Xana, and by 3:51, she's waking up and entering a new contact, but she hears all of this commotion and shit going on outside her room. It sounds like that's around the time that Ethan and Xana are getting home or coming into the house, right? Now, I don't know because we can only go by what Dylan and Bethany are saying, right? And I'm so sorry if this offends people, but I literally take everything that they say with a grain of salt. Because I do believe that I've always believed they're just deceptive. They've been deceptive from jump, and that's just my opinion. Their shit don't make sense. What they're saying doesn't make sense. But give them the benefit of the doubt. Fine. So we know that at 3:16 a.m., allegedly, Xana's on her TikTok, right? We know based on crime scene photos that even with the DoorDash, right? They order the DoorDash at what, 3 something? But it's ordered through Ethan's account. And if I remember correctly, in the crime scene photos, it's actually Xana's phone is in the bed with Ethan and Ethan's phone is with her on the floor. Right? So it looks like he's using her phone and she's using his, or she's sitting in the bed with both the phones, right? Using his for the DoorDash, using hers for the TikTok. I don't know. I'm just guessing here. I'm just trying to, give you my brain worms on what I'm trying to envision in my mind here of like, okay, so when did they actually get inside the house, right? Because it had to have been after that 3 a.m. time frame. We know that the 2:53, 2:54, when Kaylee and Maddie are never utilizing their phones again, according to Dylan and Bethany, Ethan and Xana are still not there. They're not in this house, right? So if Xana's on her TikTok at this three something time frame, but she's using Ethan's phone to order the DoorDash in his account, right? It's very interesting to me that Molly happens to be arriving into the neighborhood, okay, right around the same time as it would appear Ethan and Xana are getting to this house. Okay. It says that the DoorDash arrived at approximately 4 a.m. She took her DoorDash, but we know Molly was actually in the neighborhood like 3:50 something, right? If I remember correctly. I don't have everything in front of me, friends, so I'm just trying to go off memory here. Josie, hello. Welcome in, everybody. Senor Wazowski, Ronnie, hello. Good to see you. Hope everybody's having a great Friday. Happy Friday the 13th. Inside your bones, hello. So, if I remember correctly, right around the same time Molly is arriving into this neighborhood happens to be the time Dylan's awoken and adding a new contact. It's all happening around the same time, too. Also, sidebar, the two girls inside the house, Kaylee and Maddie, their phones appear to never be utilized again. Right around the same time, Mr. Koberger here is popping up out of fucking his bed in Pullman and leaving. Okay? Going back to Ethan and Xana. If Ethan and Xana got to the house, say between, I don't know, 3:15 and 3:51, right? Dylan and Bethany aren't sure when they got there. This is, we can only go by them. But if we go by what's been disclosed for their phones and their phone activity and stuff, we know she's on the TikTok at like 3 something a.m. We know they're ordering a DoorDash from his account. We know that at some point, someone is using his account to text the driver for DoorDash in the app to say, hey, can you not find it or whatever, right? You having trouble finding the place or whatever, which gives me the impression that they ordered the DoorDash, but they're like still somewhere else. They're not in this house when they ordered the DoorDash. They're at the Whites or they're at somebody else's house that's like close by, right? And it's almost like they're walking over. They know the DoorDash is coming, so they're going to go there to go pick it up or whatever. The other thing that throws me off about Ethan and Xana is, were they in the Explorer? Was it Ethan driving the Explorer? Because as far as we know, when cops arrive to the scene at noon, the Explorer is already in the driveway, parked up behind Ethan's Jeep, but Hunter and Maisie aren't there yet. They're not there when the police arrive, correct? Real Tea with Krista Marie, hello. So that's the other thing that's like tripping me up about Ethan and Xana. Christina, hello. So who's driving the Explorer, and how did that Explorer get to that house before the police even arrived? If Maisie and Hunter aren't there yet. Know what I'm saying? Like, it's very strange to me. I'm super confused as to how the Explorer is already in the driveway before police arrive, even though Hunter and Maisie aren't at this house and they aren't there when police arrive. That just tells me that Ethan's got the Explorer, right? I mean, I don't know that it would appear that at some time between 3 and 3:51 a.m. is when Ethan and Xana are getting there. You have someone texting the DoorDash driver from Ethan's phone in the app. That's the only way you can contact the driver. You would have to contact your driver via the fucking app to text them to be like, yo, where's my food, bitch? Where are you at? Right? What's taking so long? It says you're here because you can even see in the app where your fucking driver is. Okay? So it all seems to be like around this 3:51 a.m. time frame is when is something else is happening pertaining to Ethan and Xana, because whatever's happened to Kaylee and Maddie, in my opinion, is already done by that 2:53, 2:54 time when they never use their phones again. Okay? You don't go from at 2:40 in the morning to frantically looking for a dog that you've lost to all of a sudden by 2:53, 2:54, you're now up in your room, pass the fuck out. You found the dog, everything's fine, and you're just going to bed. You and Kaylee are passing out at the same time upstairs. 2:53, 2:54. Phones are never used again. Okay. So in my opinion, it would appear whatever's going on with Kaylee and Maddie has already happened. And then their phones are never used again. And it's not because they both fell asleep at the exact same time next to each other in bed. That's the other thing that I'll sidebar here while I'm thinking about it. We were initially told Kaylee is the one who Kaylee got up out of bed and came out of her room, right? Because she maybe heard something going on with Maddie or whatever. And then actually, no, that can't be true. And the reason that it can't be true is because according to all of the actual forensics, according to the state and the defense's own experts, Kaylee and Maddie were killed in the same bed together. Right? Now it's turned to they were asleep together in Maddie's room and they were killed together, right? And they never left that room after they were killed. And I really think the reason that like Anne was driving that home is to get to the okay, so at 2:53, 2:54, these two who never used their phone again, they never got up after that. They never left the room after that. Meaning you didn't hear them. You didn't hear one of them screaming, playing with a dog, dancing, nothing at 4 a.m. None of that happened. Right? So getting back to Ethan and Xana, I'm trying to keep my thoughts all together here. Mercy Cat, thank you so much. Mercy Cat just gifted 10 more memberships. If you turn green, please make sure you say thank you to the fucking queen. Happy Friday the 13th, everybody. Paco, hello. Thank you so much, Mercy Cat. I really don't deserve you. So, the more and more that I just ponder this, it would appear that whatever's happened with Maddie and Kaylee it's done. It's done by that 2:53, 2:54. Okay. And whatever happens with Ethan and Xana is something separate, in my opinion. Okay. And whatever's happening with them is occurring at this, 3:16 time frame when she's on TikTok, but also ordering the DoorDash. I don't know where they are, but it would appear that at some time between the time that she's on that TikTok to the time that they are texting the DoorDash driver in his app to be like, are you having trouble finding the place or whatever? This is when they're arriving in that Explorer. I don't think they're on foot. I think that Explorer is what the car they were in. And I don't know when that explorer arrives. Like Outcast, my dog, my homie. I know you've gone through all of this footage from that light bulb cam. When does that explorer arrive to the house? That's kind of like where I'm at. When does the Chapin's explorer get to the house? Design rhythm, hello. That's kind of what I want to know. I want to know, what time is the Chapin's explorer arriving at the house? Is it between the 2 and 3 a.m. time frame when Kaylee and Maddie have gotten home? Is it do you get what I'm saying? So, maybe Outcast, my dog, can do a video for me on that or whatever. Best guess, oh, Senor. Best guess is 4:29. Interesting. 4:29, huh? Yeah, I'm guessing Explorer arrives at 4:29, and we're sure it's their Explorer. Because that's weird. That would be after the crime. That would be as Mr. Koberger's allegedly fleeing the scene, correct? So 4:25 a.m. allegedly is when. Interesting. Okay, so getting back to Ethan and Xana. So we do know at 3-ish, 3:16-ish, I think is the time she's on the TikTok, right? Then they're texting the DoorDash driver, hey, can you find the place? And then at 3:51, Dylan's waking up because she thinks she's hearing things. And this is before the white Elantra has even parked, right? So all of this commotion is happening even before this alleged Koberger and his car have even parked, right? So now the other interesting thing about Ethan and Xana is that not only do we not know the precise time that they got into the home and the precise time that their phones show them as arriving at this residence, right? Hmm. We also do not know what they're doing, right? Their phone activity while they're inside the house. I'd be interested in health data, steps, things like that. Because according to Dylan and Bethany, once they went to their rooms, they never came out again. And as far as they knew, Ethan and Xana were not in the house when they went to their rooms. Okay. And it doesn't sound like Ethan and Xana are in the house when Maddie's looking for the dog either. And when Maddie and Bethany take the dog outside, they're still not there. So the oddities surrounding Ethan and Xana are very, very interesting because it's almost like they don't want to disclose. There's a very particular reason why they don't want to disclose to the public the precise time that they arrived at this house. And I'm not sure why that is, but there's a reason that they're hiding it, right? In my opinion, there's a reason that they're hiding the precise time that these two arrive at this home. And the other interesting thing about Ethan and Xana is that even though they allege that Xana is the only one who was awake when attacked, right? She's the only one awake actually fighting someone and like fighting for her life, whereas everybody else appears to be, I mean, which I don't know how they come up with that, especially like with the injuries to Kaylee, because to me, it looks like Kaylee's actually fighting for her life too, just based on her injuries, but I don't know. If Xana's the only one that's up and like fighting and stuff, right? It's odd to me that pertaining to Ethan in the living room, We do know that out of all of the blood samples in that living room, right, including on the half wall and then the wall that leads down to the first floor and the ping pong table. Miss Q, hello. We do know that all of that blood, right, in that living room for the most part is diluted, except for one sample. There is one sample in that living room. It's on like top of the half wall, on like the wooden part of the half wall there in the living room. That is a mixed sample with Ethan being the major contributor, but they never say who the other contributors are. And it's an undiluted mixed sample. Okay. So that's super interesting to me. Because if Ethan's the major contributor to that sample, and then all of the other mixed samples surrounding it are from the two victims upstairs, and they're like diluted. So, I mean, I'm, and he's the one who's found naked with just socks on, right? Correct? So, isn't I'm just trying to picture in my mind, right? Because like that's how I am. I'm like a, visual learner. So I'm trying to picture in my mind how someone who's already deceased can be the major contributor to the only undiluted sample in a room surrounded by diluted other mixed samples, and it's mixed with the two victims upstairs. So he's the major contributor to not only the DNA, to this blood that's found that is not diluted. He's the major contributor, but they're not saying who the other contributors are to that sample. And he also happens to be the one who has the highest likelihood ratio for the DNA under Maddie Mogan's fingernails. So it's his undiluted blood in the living room that's mixed, and it's surrounded by undiluted blood that's mixed from the two victims upstairs. And a lot of what we're seeing with these diluted stains, these diluted blood stains on the pong table, on the half wall, and all of this, some of them are due to oversaturation for when they're swabbing. They're using excessive water when swabbing, but a lot other is that it's diluted with whatever's on the beer pong table. Water, beer, Bud Light Lime, right? So if good morning, Bronx Tales, welcome on in. Good to see you. So here's the thing that like my brain is trying to wrap itself around. I'm trying to wrap my brain around how a person who was found naked with only socks on and never ever left the room, how is it that his blood stain happens to be the only undiluted blood stain smack in the middle of a bunch of other diluted blood stains all around it? His is the only non-diluted, and he's the major contributor. That would mean he left the room. How did his blood get out there as the major contributor when everything else around it is diluted? Do you get what I'm saying? I'd be super interested. Stella, hello. I'd be super interested to know, like, obviously we need more docs and stuff like that. That's just something that my brain is stuck on. I'd be interested to know the experts, how an expert would go about that. Like, even Scott Roeder, like, you know, when reconstructing the crime scene, when reconstructing everything and going through bloodstains and finding your areas of convergence and things like that. I'd be interested to know what one of them, you know, would gather by this one singular undiluted blood stain happens to be on top of the half wall, and it is literally surrounded by all of this undiluted, I mean, I'm sorry, other diluted blood stains all around it. Okay. It's very interesting to me. And he's the only one that's found naked in socks, right? So, like, there was the whole, like, even with Dr. Turvey, the lack of footwear, transfer stains. After looking at Ethan and Xana's room, it is clear whoever is in this room doing this is slipping and sliding around in all of that blood. And there's no way they did not leave some trace of them exiting the room via footwear, footprints. Even if you have booties on, you're still going to transfer smear that blood. It is going to transfer. Even if it doesn't leave an actual shoe print or footprint, it's going to transfer and smear on the floor because your booties even have now slipped and slid around in all that blood. Clifton Mayo, right. You thought Ethan Chapin's blood wasn't outside the bedroom. Right. But it is. And it's the only undiluted sample in that living room that he is the major contributor of. And they don't say who the other contributors are or how many. And, you know, again, even the experts, Sutton and Turvey, you know, kind of agree that, like, yes, there should be some kind of footwear pattern transfer from the perp and or perps leaving the rooms and then to the exits, whatever exit they used. Whether they ran down to the front door, whether they ran down to the back slider. The problem is you can't say that he went out the front door. You've already locked yourself into, he came in through the slider, he left through the slider. You've already locked yourself into it. Know what I mean? And I feel like that's kind of the problem with what the state did here, because they knew once they got themselves locked into a certain story of how this happened, you know, where do you go from there, right? Everything redacted. Where's the source for this? That would be in the amended rebuttal disclosure from Sutton, where she's going back and forth with Dr. Turvey and Nodell. That's where you'll find that. She has to address a blood stain in the living room on the half wall. It is determined to be Ethan Chapin's undiluted blood, and it's a mixed sample. So yeah, that's where that is. For anybody who's looking for it, I have covered it. We did a whole live on that document and the amended rebuttal disclosure from Sutton. So, you know, you could find that in there. It's just super interesting to me because, you know, I'm not trying to fucking say anything or not say anything. It's just me and my brain. These are brain worms, and it's my brain trying to compute it all and work it out and picture in my mind how it's happening with only one person, right? Slipping and sliding around in all of this blood in Ethan and Xana's room. And if Ethan never left the room, well, then how is his blood in that living room? It's surrounded by a bunch of diluted other blood, right? And his is the only one there that's not diluted, and he's the major contributor. And it's mixed. but they never say who it's mixed with and who the other contributors are, male, female. Know what I'm saying? For all we know, it's a perp. For all we know, and one of the other contributors could be the perp, but it doesn't say. So this is why, like I say, the oddity surrounding Ethan and Xana, it's all very interesting to me because it would appear that after Kaylee and Maddie never used their phones again, that's when, unfortunately, those two are deceased. And that's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. From my mind anyway, the way that my mind is computing it is that, okay, we have this very short window of time from the time they're looking for the dog to the time they both just go to sleep at the same time and never use their phones again, to now we have this other time where it looks like, okay, Ethan and Xana have arrived home. I don't know what's happening, but some shit is happening that is now leading to them also being killed, right? And it's all kind of happening around the time that this DoorDash is showing up. And Dylan is even hearing shit too before, Koberger's allegedly even gotten into the house, right? So I don't know. Something is, for me, it's something's off here when it comes to Ethan and Xana, and they've hit it. They've tried to deflect from that or not give any information about that, or give as little as possible pertaining to Ethan and Xana. They want to give as little information as possible, in my opinion. Real Tea with Krista Marie, thank you so much for your super sticker, honey. I'm trying to go back and highlight it. Every time I try to do it, thank you so very much. I know. If the brainworms weren't bad enough, I know. Yeah, I know, honey. Now you're drunk. Now your brainworms are drunk. Thank you so much for your super sticker. I truly appreciate it. It's something that I don't know. It's just going to, it's bugging me. It's bugging me a lot because if he never left the room and you know that you have this singular blood stain in this living room that is not diluted, and it's a mixed sample, and one of your victims is the main contributor, you're absolutely going to find out who the other contributors are, right? Number one, you're going to find out how many contributors, and hopefully whether or not those other contributors, do they belong to your other victims? So we have this, what appears to be a pattern here when it comes to Ethan specifically, where there's this singular undiluted blood in the living room that he's the major contributor to. When they're creating likelihood ratios for the DNA under Maddie's fingernails, they've determined Ethan as the highest likelihood ratio. And the highest likelihood ratio is your strongest evidence, according to every document that I've read on creating likelihood ratios as a DNA analyst. When you are creating likelihood ratios, even what's his name there? I think it's like Christian Westring or whatever his name is. Who's the guy there? Now I can't remember his name. We had a whole disclosure from him from the state, and he agreed. He had to kind of concede with the state that when you're, with the defense, that when you're creating these likelihood ratios, the higher the likelihood ratio, the stronger the evidence. Okay. The stronger the evidence. I remember reading that, and I don't remember whose disclosure it was from, but it was interesting because I'm like, well, then if the highest likelihood ratio is the strongest evidence, why are they pursuing the person who had the lowest likelihood ratio? Also, we have other male DNA on the sheet that is not Koberger's, that's mixed, that is also never identified. only used for exclusionary purposes, not for identification purposes. Right? So there seems to be a pattern here of not wanting to identify certain males, in my opinion. And it feels like it's surrounding Ethan. Also, just my opinion. It feels like there is the intentional not identifying of certain, like, it doesn't make sense to me at all that you have his blood undiluted in that living room that he's a major contributor of if he never left the room. And also, who is his blood mixed with? Is it just Zana? Is it the other three victims who his blood is mixed with? Because as far as we know, there's no DNA transfer from the two victims upstairs to the two downstairs, right? Based on the blood, it would appear Kaylee and Maddie's blood appears to be mostly contained to the upstairs, and then Ethan and Xana's blood is contained to the downstairs. So I'd be very interested to know his blood that was found in this living room that's not diluted, who's it mixed with? Is it the three other victims? Is it a perp? Right? Because in the document, that rebuttal disclosure from Sutton, all we get is that, yes, it is an undiluted blood stain that Ethan Chapin is the major contributor of. It does not say in that document who the other contributors are or how many contributors there are. Okay? That's the thing that's kind of tripping me up here. Because if he never left the room, I'm confused as to how his blood is out in that living room. You would imagine if it's a perp, if it's, say, the blood transfer, Ethan's blood in that living room that's undiluted came from the perp, well, then I would expect it to be diluted just like the rest of it around it, because allegedly the perpetrator cleaned. The perpetrator was cleaning blood stains, according to Sutton, the state's expert. All Mr. Koberger did was take the time to put on some coverings over his bloody clothes. He covered himself and then cleaned blood stains as he left. So if that's true, and Mr. Koberger's cleaning things, I would expect that blood stain that Ethan's the major contributor of, that's surrounded by a bunch of diluted blood stains, is also going to be diluted. It should be diluted if it's from the perp cleaning. This is an undiluted blood stain that he's the major contributor of. And it's in that living room surrounded by a bunch of diluted stains. And he also happens to be the only person found in that house naked with just clean socks on. And once whatever's happened to him is done and over with, he's never left that bed. So to me, it sounds more like, at some point he was up, out of the bed. For his blood to be out there and it's not diluted with the rest. Do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, because if the perpetrator is the one who's out there cleaning, right? How did this perpetrator just miss this, blood? The rest of the blood around it has all been diluted and cleaned, and allegedly, attempts of cleaning were made. That's why it's all diluted. unless it's this, except for the samples where they used excessive water when collecting swabs, but a lot of it was already diluted, right? So it's very, very, very interesting to me, the oddities surrounding Ethan and Xana. There's a lot of oddities surrounding Ethan and Xana when they arrived home, right? When did they actually get to the residence? When did he take a shower? When did, you know, because to me, that's what it feels like. Okay. To me, it feels like, someone here took a shower in that second floor bathroom. It feels to me like that's why we have this diluted, stains all around the place in that living room. It feels like someone tried to rinse off, strip down. After the crime is done, you're stripping down, you're taking everything off, you're taking, rinsing off in the shower. That would explain the lack of footwear, transfer stains or footprints towards any of the exits, right? You have this, it looks to me like once everything's done, people are stripping down, people are rinsing off, and this is why you're having these weird diluted stains on the half wall that are mixed samples from the victims upstairs and things like that. We don't have mixed samples for Ethan and Xana in the living room, as far as we know. We don't have diluted mixed samples for Ethan and Xana in the living room. We have all of these diluted mixed samples are for Kaylee and Maddie in that living room. It's like after whatever happens to Kaylee and Maddie is done, clothes are taken off, people are cleaning up. Like, that's just what it feels like to me. Again, friends, these are just my opinions. This is just my brain. Okay, visualizing it, placing blood stains where they are in my own brain. Okay, if you can visualize things in your brain, you know what I'm talking about. I'm literally just like virtually walking myself through the crime scene here, trying to figure out, because now in my brain, we have two separate incidents happening here. And it appears that the first incident, for Kaylee and Maddie is why we have all of this diluted blood downstairs, these diluted stains downstairs, because after whatever happens upstairs, people have rinsed off. I don't know. They've cleaned off things. They've rinsed things. They've tried to wash their hands. And think about it, right? You go to wash your hands and there's no towels around for you to grab onto, or you don't want to grab a towel. You shake your hands off, right? And you fling the water everywhere. This is just what my brain is picturing here, friends. Okay. It's very interesting to me that if the perpetrator and or perpetrators are the ones doing the cleaning and the cause of the dilution, the diluted stains, we should have diluted blood stains for Ethan and Xana as well in that living room. Do you get what I'm saying? It shouldn't be only diluted stains for Kaylee and Maddie in the living room. We should have diluted stains for Ethan and Xana as well. Should we not? If it's the perps or if it's Kohberger. We'll just go with the fucking state here, friends, for my own just for our own brains and for our thought experiment that we're doing here. This is just a thought experiment. Let's just go with Kohberger. If it's Mr. Kohberger who's cleaning, he's cleaning. He's had time to, after he's done killing Ethan and Xana, he's had time to put on some of their clothes over his clothes. And he's taken off his shoes, or he's done something with his shoes to not leave any trace of an exit out of the room. And he's gone to clean off the knife, wash his hands, whatever the fucking case may be here, whatever they're trying to claim here for the cleaning that was done. How is he leaving diluted mixed samples for Kaylee and Maddie all over the fucking living room leading down to the first floor, but none for Ethan and Xana. How's that happening? Because I feel like scientifically it's impossible. I feel like on a forensic level, it would be impossible to do that. You've killed two people upstairs. You've killed two people over here. Once you're done and all four are dead and you allegedly are just going to like what? Okay. So you put on their clothes. You go to clean off your knife, clean off your weapon, whatever the case may be. You're only leaving diluted blood for the two victims upstairs and not for the last two that you just killed. Right? I feel like your diluted samples in that living room would be more for Ethan and Xana considering what her room looked like, right? Considering what her room looked like and the damage that was done to her and the damage that was done to Ethan, if you're going to be leaving diluted mixed samples of blood in that living room because you've cleaned up, it's going to be theirs, in my opinion. It's just the oddities surrounding Ethan and Xana are very interesting to me. I don't know what happened here. I'm not going to ever try to push anything as to what I think happened. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what happened here. Bethany and Dylan know what happened here. Bethany and Dylan definitely know what happened here. And I'm not exactly sure why, they're look, I don't care. You could call me a jerk, say whatever. Oh, she's victim blaming or victim bashing. I'm not doing any of those things. I'm a parent. I have a kid, these kids' age when they were killed. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have a kid that age. And if this was my kid, like, I'm sorry. If you presented this to me and this was one of my kids, I'm going to tell you to go fuck yourself. Your theory doesn't make any sense. I'm sorry. That's what I'd have to say to the state. You're going to have to fuck off because your theory doesn't make any sense as to what you're telling me here that happened to my kid. Right? That's just how I personally feel about it. If all of this was presented to me, if I went through all of these docs and everything as a parent, if I looked at these crime scene photos, I read the amended disclosure from the state's own expert, I would have to say, your theory is wrong. I'm not on board with your theory. Right? And that's our right. That would be my right as a parent to do that. That's our right as citizens of this fine country, okay? Of this great nation, as citizens of this great nation, that's our right to have an opinion, change our mind, and not agree with the fucking government when they say something that we can look at with our own two eyeballs and say that doesn't make any fucking sense. I'm sorry. If this was my kid, I'd have to tell the state, your theory doesn't make any sense. What do you mean? He went into this room, he stabbed her and him all these times, and the only mixed fucking samples you're finding in the living room belong to the two upstairs, huh? Really? Interesting. Like forensically, I don't know how that's possible. But, that's why we do these lives, and I just give you guys my brainworms. I know there's a lot of you out there. You've gone through like every body cam, the entirety of Linda Lane, the entirety of the light bulb camera. You've gone through everybody's social medias and things like that. I tend to not do that just because A, I don't have the time. B, it's very time consuming. C, it's like, I really just like to look at the docs. I like to look at the photos. I like to really try to stick with what I can that we know is in black and white. And I'm a doc nerd, okay? I really do love reading court docs. It's one of my favorite things to do, indictments and things like that. But every now and then I got to tell you, like, this is why I do these lives where I just give brainworms, because once you go through the docs and you look at the photos, like there's just something is not making sense. And for me, it really pertains to Ethan and Xana. There's a lot that's been hidden about them, their whereabouts, precisely when they arrived at the home. Um, so when they did get there, what's their phone, their health data showing? Are they taking steps? Do they just go straight into the room and then the phones like literally never move again other than like sitting in the bed, right? Like, are there steps taken on their phones? Did he actually leave the room? Does it look like they came in and took like all these steps to go upstairs and then took all these steps to go into the kitchen, maybe make some food, maybe go take a shower? Like, you're going to see all that. If they did go to hop in the shower and turned on the music, right? Did Ethan and Xana come home, order some food, start blaring the fucking music? One of them hopped in the fucking shower. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, did they come home and discover? Did they see that like something has already happened? Did they walk in on this shit? Did they walk in on cleanup? Right? I have no idea. I'm just saying. These are just my brainworms. But there is something surrounding them that they don't want to talk about. The other thing about Ethan here is that Ethan has his own apartment. We find this out now. We find out that allegedly because of Ethan's grades, Ethan could not stay at the frat house because of his grades the year prior, right? Whatever happened the year prior, the prior semester, made it that he couldn't stay at the frat house for this semester. And they had to get him his own apartment. Okay. So Ethan has his own apartment. But according to Dylan and Bethany and everybody else, nobody really knew about it. A few people knew about it, but he never stayed at it. Never stayed at the apartment. As far as we know, Macy stayed at her sorority house, right? His brother Hunter is at the frat house, so allegedly it's Ethan's apartment. Here's the problem. Ethan has his own apartment, yet the lead investigating agency doesn't search it. Ever. We have no supplemental reports for searching Ethan's apartment. We have no supplemental reports for Idaho State Police doing any kind of swabbing. They didn't photograph it. They didn't take video of it. They didn't go do swabs. They didn't look for blood. They didn't do nothing with Ethan's apartment. As far as we know, everything pertaining to Ethan, it would appear, is being handled by the feds, in my opinion. Right? It looks like his apartment is handled by the feds. Idaho State Police there's no fucking way they didn't find his apartment and go check it out. And like, do you get what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm saying here? So that's the other thing about Ethan. Ethan has his own apartment that he never stays at. Idaho State Police doesn't search it. Moscow Police Department doesn't search it. You'll go search Jack fucking Showalter's place, right? You'll have the maintenance man go take a peeky poo inside Showalter's place for you before your warrant comes in. But you don't go to Ethan's apartment, huh? At all? Anybody else find that weird? They never went and searched Ethan's apartment or locked it down or got a search warrant for it? Nothing? Okay. That's weird. Super weird. And like, it's just there appears to be a lot of oddities specifically surrounding Ethan. I'm sorry. This is not victim blaming. These are just questions. These are just brainworms. Like, my brain is trying to logically conclude and logically figure out what time him and Xana entered into this home and how he went from being fully clothed to found naked in a very short amount of time. He's obviously fully clothed when he enters the home. And then not very long after, he's fully naked in a fresh, clean pair of socks. And we have all of this diluted blood in this living room. These diluted blood stains that belong to the two victims upstairs, and none of it belongs to Ethan and Xana. None of it. And he has an apartment that the police never go do anything with. Never. To this day, as far as we know, they never did anything with his apartment. Now, it's my opinion the reason that Idaho State Police didn't touch it and Moscow Police didn't touch it is because the feds told them they weren't allowed to. That's just my opinion. Um, so I don't know, friends, it's very, very fucking weird to me. And it's just, there's a lot of things that I can't, it's mainly the singular, undiluted blood in the living room that belongs to Ethan, that he is the major contributor of. That's actually one of my biggest brainworms right now, because if it's your perps, if it's your perpetrator doing the cleaning, and that's why you have all of these diluted mixed samples from the two victims downstairs in this living room, then where are Ethan and Xana's diluted samples that should also be present? I just want to know where those are. And I just want to know why Ethan's apartment was never searched or locked down or photographed by any agency, as far as we know, between Moscow Police Department and Idaho State Police. Neither of those agencies handled that. So, I don't know, friends. You can give me your thoughts. Let me know what you think. Like, I just feel like there's a lot being hidden here, in particular when it comes to Ethan and Xana. There's a lot they haven't disclosed and or released. I don't know why that is. There's a lot that they hid about their whereabouts and what time they actually did arrive at the residence. We still don't, till this day, know the precise time that they got home. Something so simple as what time did they actually get to the residence has never been disclosed. And it's so weird to me. It's so weird to me. And he's the hot, he also happens to have the highest likelihood ratio for the DNA under Maddie Mogen's fingernails. And according to the experts in this case, your highest likelihood ratio is your strongest evidence. That's the strongest evidence you should be following when creating likelihood ratios. If you're going to create a likelihood ratio for the contributors to DNA under a victim's fingernails, your highest likelihood ratio is your strongest evidence. So, and I'm not trying to say like, oh, they should have been looking at Ethan as a perpetrator. That's not what I'm saying here. I'm just saying that is what their own experts said. Know what I mean? So I don't know, man. It's really tripping me out. And then his family just, bam, right in bed with Othram off the rip. Won't go to court, but they'll go to crime con. No shade. No shade. I'm just saying, like, I don't know. I don't know. And then you've got the whole, closed hearing, the whole January 23rd closed hearing pertaining to IGG. And I think it was Leah Larkin or someone in that hearing talking about the SC. Was it Leah Larkin? SC could see their match the next day after the profile was uploaded to databases law enforcement is barred from. So after they uploaded the profile to databases, law enforcement, DNA databases that law enforcement is barred from, SC could see their match the next day. SC could see their match the next day. It's just very interesting. It's very, very, very interesting. Okay. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay. It's really interesting to me that an SC could see their match the next day when the profile from the sheath that couldn't get a hit on CODIS was uploaded into DNA databases law enforcement is barred from. Interesting. Very, very interesting. And then the profile is taken out of that database, according to, I think it was Leah Larkin. So because they couldn't get a hit on CODIS with this profile that they took off the sheath, right? They uploaded it to these databases, these DNA databases law enforcement is barred from, uploaded it as though they're the owner of the profile, and SC could see their match the next day. A familial match SC could see the next day. Interesting. Very interesting. So I don't know. And then it's his blood, his singular undiluted blood in the living room, and he's the major contributor. And they won't talk about they haven't said who the other contributors are. So they won't say what time him and Zana actually got to the house. They won't say shit about his apartment. They won't talk about why, even though he had the highest likelihood ratio for the DNA under Maddie's fingernails, it wasn't pursued, apparently, even though that's your strongest evidence. It wasn't pursued. That we don't know who SC is that could see their match. I just find it to be a fucking strange coincidence that that also happens to be the initials of his mother. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, all of it's so weird to me. Did they arrive in a vehicle? Did they arrive on foot? Did they get dropped off? Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it seems to be that everything surrounding Ethan and Zana has been very limited in disclosure. And I don't know why that is, but that's just my opinion. It's just my opinion. I did find it to be very strange that SC could see their match the next day after the profile from the sheath that couldn't get a hit on CODIS was uploaded into DNA databases law enforcement is barred from. SC could see their match. Okay. And if I remember correctly, I'm not fully aware of this, so I don't want to get, this is just a question. Don't come at me and try to fucking sue me and shit for slander. But didn't the Chapins, like, their triplets were in vitro, right? Or did they have to use a donor to get their triplets? I just feel like, however it is, whatever they did with their triplets, this is likely why their family's DNA is already in a database, a familial database, because of whatever they had to do to conceive triplets or whatever the case may be. I'm not sure, but I just found it very strange that it's SC. Of all people, that's the initials of the person who could see their match to the profile on the sheet. Okay? It's just strange. It's very, very strange. I'm not saying that it is Stacy Chapin who could see the match, but what a fucking coincidence, right? What an absolute coincidence. That the person seeing their match happens to have the exact same initials as Ethan's mom. And she also happens to be the person who's like all cozied up with Othram after. And, it's very interesting, friends. It's very, very interesting. I've always wondered, like, I mean, just because of the way they describe this SC person being able to see the match and blah, blah, blah. And, law enforcement is going into DNA databases they're barred from by pretending as though they're the owner of the profile and blah, blah, blah. Like, well, holy shit. So if it is Koberger's, right, and SC could see their match, what? What? Is he like on their tree? Did they bark up this is also where they're talking about like, the wrong branch of a tree being attached, right? Leah Larkin mentions things like that, talking about like the wrong branch or something being added to the familial tree. And once that happens, you're supposed to fucking scratch the tree and start over again. If you add a wrong branch, if you add a wrong relative, it fucks up the whole tree. So you got to go back and start over again. I don't know. It's super interesting to me that SC could see their match the next day. Allegedly, it's Koberger's DNA. Also, when the tree was being created, a wrong branch was added or something. So I don't know, guys. There just seems to be a lot of hidden things surrounding Ethan and Zana. And again, these are just my opinions. They're just my brainworms. They're just my questions. That's all. It is not in any way to shame families, shame victims, blame anybody for anything. These are just questions. They're brainworms, okay? They're thoughts, they're opinions. I'm entitled to them. But I hope everybody's having a great Friday the 13th. It says there's 180 of you here. So, thumbs it up, thumbs it down. Follow your heart, not your frown. Meg P, again, thank you for gifting 10 memberships today. Actually, I know you did more than that. Meg P, I think, gifted like 20 memberships today. Let's see, 10, 15. Yes. And then Kim Young, you also gifted 5 memberships today. Thank you so very much. I truly appreciate everyone. You guys are so awesome. I really do appreciate all the love and the support. And of course, beautiful Mercy Cat gifted 10 memberships as well. So 25 of you became members today. Please make sure that you show a lot of love, show a lot of thanks, okay? If you catch this on the replay, please make sure that you say thank you to everyone who was gifting memberships today. Mods, just fucking, you guys made it rain green in here today. Krista Marie, thank you so much for your super chat, your super sticker. I truly appreciate you, honey. I'm going to get going. I still have a lot to do. I know you guys know I had to take a lot of time off of work, man, after that surgery, and I've just been trying to heal up. But with the moving and the packing and working, it's just going slow, and I'm not healing as fast as I wanted to and as fast as I would like to, and it's really pissing me off. It's really pissing me off. But I hope everybody has a great day. I really do. Go enjoy your Friday the 13th. Thank you, everybody, for all the love. I will be doing my monthly shout outs like I always do at the end of the month. So if you send something on the Venmo, the Cashapp, just know if I don't see it right away, I truly appreciate you. I will be doing all of my shout outs. Krista Marie, why is everybody sending you prayers? What's happening? Trying to go see my chat. Are you okay? I hope everybody's safe and doing well. Kaibo, Yvette Clifton, Witchy Was, Momo, Ronnie. Who else have we got in here? My goodness. JMP Jasmine, hello. Other content providers have enhanced audio of Ethan and Xana Tech. They beat up Ethan? I don't know. Yeah, I'll have to go check out the, like I said, I don't really go through like all the videos and stuff, Batsheet. I do on my own sometimes. I'll listen to them while I'm doing other things. You're at the hospital, honey. I'm so sorry. Oh my God, don't send me fucking super stickers then. What are you doing? Okay, what are you doing? You send me nothing. You're in the hospital. Everybody go send her some money. You know what I mean? Go send Krista some money. She shouldn't be sending me nothing. She has to have her jaw removed. Wait, what? Who does? And reconstructed. Holy shit, Krista. I'm so sorry, honey. I don't know who that is, but my God. Dana Lynn, look at you. Holy shit. Thank you so much, Dana Lynn. $49.99 super sticker. You are absolutely amazing. You have no idea how much I truly appreciate you. These questions are important to us. We want to know about that apartment. You sound so much better. Yes, thank you. Thank you. I appreciate it, Dana Lynn. Thank you so much for all your love and all your support. Really, truly appreciate it. You guys have no idea how much I appreciate all your support. I really do. Thank you so much. Krista Marie, whatever's going on, darling, I hope everything works out. Sending lots of love, lots of prayers. Okay. Your mom. Oh, I'm so sorry, honey. So sorry, honey. She'll be okay. Don't worry. Just stay in the light. Stay positive. Think positive thoughts. Okay. Everything will work out just fine. She'll be great. She'll be great. Mercy Cat, if you're still listening, please give Elroy 2 extra treats today since it's Friday the 13th. Prayers are all around for everybody. I love you all. Go enjoy your Friday. And maybe today Hipla will give us some docs since it's Friday the 13th. If we get docs, maybe I'll do a late night live or something tonight since it's Friday, okay? Mods, as always, thank you. You are the real fucking MVPs around here. Moderators, subscribers, lurkers, all of you, hate watchers. You're all the real MVPs, because the fact of the matter is, if you weren't here, I'd just be talking to myself. You know what I'm saying? And that would be boring. So hope everybody has a great day. Love you all. Take care. See you soon. Bye.